All right, welcome back everyone to the Lorcana Academy. I am Airball, your tenured tryhard on faculty, and today we are playing some more Pixelborn, and I am excited. I am very excited about this deck. This deck, I think, is probably the best deck to be playing on the ladder right now, unless you are willing to stomach a bunch of control games over and over and over again. So if you want games that finish relatively quickly and play the most powerful cards available to you, this is the way to go. So we're playing an Amber Steel list that I found over on Dreamborn. And this deck is... We'll talk about the creatures in a minute, or the characters in a minute, but this deck is all about these two songs, which are very, very good in the meta right now. So we've recently gone through a period where the meta was about aggro decks. So you had your Lilos and your Simbas and a bunch of low-to-the-ground creatures that were difficult for control decks to get a handle on. Your Ruby Amethyst didn't really do a great job of interacting with them in the early game, and so they were able to, either through being evasive or bodyguard effects, able to dodge a lot of the relevant big bads in the format. And so Steel became very, very good because it got around bodyguard, it got around evasive, and it was able to interact on early turns. And so Steel became like the best color to deal with the meta. And so things sort of evolved into this sort of mid-range mess because it became impossible to play aggro, and people on Pixelborn don't like playing control, so everyone sort of migrated into this like Steel metagame. And it's not hard to see why. The two songs in this deck, which are 4 ofs each, Whole New World and Grab Your Sword, are two of the most powerful cards that exist in the game right now. So Grab Your Sword is a one-sided board wipe dealing 2 damage to each opposing character. There are a lot of creatures in Lorcana, or a lot of characters in Lorcana that only have 2 willpower. Maleficents are everywhere. There's a lot of one-drops. A lot of the one-drops that are played in the format only have 2 willpower. And you can also put a damage or 2 on things that have 3 willpower and get them to die to Grab Your Sword as well. So this is a card that can do a lot of work. It can create a lot of card advantage for you and swing the board state in your favor. And the board state's important because you have this other card, Whole New World, which is probably the most powerful card in the deck. So Whole New World is a symmetrical effect. Each player discards their hand and draws 7. So on its face, it seems like it's doing something for both players. And it is. But if you are the player that has less cards in your hand or fewer cards in your hand, then you draw more cards off this than your opponent does. So already this is a source of card advantage if you can build your deck in a way to dump your hand to the board. Also, it's very good because it is a song. So you don't necessarily need to pay 5 ink to cast this. If you have characters in play that let you sing this song for free, you're the first one who gets to act with those new 7 cards in your hand. So this deck is built with these 2 cards in mind. It's built with the idea of getting everything out on the board as quickly as it can, and then casting a Whole New World as quickly as possible, so your opponent still has a bunch of cards in their hand, so you gain more cards than they do, and you can immediately deploy the new cards that you draw off of this. So how do we do that? Well, we do it with the character suite that we're probably used to by now. So obviously we have the Steel... mainstays. We have 4 copies of Tinkerbell and 4 copies of Big Tinkerbell. These 2 cards combined can just take over a game, right? So Tinkerbell dealing 1 damage to everything on the opponent's side makes their 3 toughness creatures exposed to Grab Your Sword. And also, if you shift it onto a Tinkerbell that you already have in play, she can attack immediately, which is important because if you do that and she banishes something, then you can deal another 2 damage. So she's just a house. She can take over the board, machine gun down the opponent's characters, and take over the board that way. So Steel very powerful in that way. But we also have a couple characters in the deck that are designed to make sure that we can sing the 5 ink cost songs that we just talked about. And they are Cinderella, so 4 Cinderellas that have Singer 5, and 4 Ariels that also have Singer 5. And not only does Ariel have Singer 5, but you can also use her as a way to find the songs if you haven't found them yet. So you also want your curve to be relatively low because you want an opening hand that has a bunch of cheap cards so that by the time you get to Ariel on turn 3, turn 4 is ready to have Whole New World sung with you having no cards left in your hand. So we have 4 copies of Stitch, 4 copies of Captain Hook, 4 copies of Simba, 4 copies Prince Eric. All of these things are very cheap to put into play. And also, we also have 3 copies, of Lantern. So Lantern is an uninkable card, so it's a little dangerous to have in the deck, a little dangerous to have in your opening hand. But if you do, you can put it out on the battlefield for only 2 ink, and then it's a way to give you persistent value after you've cast Whole New World, because now every turn for the rest of the game, this makes your stuff cheaper to put into play, makes it easier to empty your hand for the next Whole New World and the one after that. So you get the idea of the game. You get the idea of the deck. We're trying to empty our hand, refuel with cards like Rapunzel and Whole New World, empty our hand, refuel with cards like Rapunzel and Whole New World, and then eventually take over completely and quest for the 20 lore we need with the big bads like Moana, Stitch, and Tinkerbell. So this deck is extremely powerful. I have had a ton of success playing it on ladder, and I think you will too. I think that this is very well positioned in the meta right now. And if you would like to try it out in person, of course, you can head on over to our sponsor, Coolstuffinc.com, where you can use our code ACADEMY at checkout for 5% off your order. And yeah, I think that these cards will be good in the new meta once the Chapter 2 comes out. And more importantly, if you buy the cards from Cool Stuff with that code, that you let them know that we sent you, and that keeps the lights on here. It keeps the content going. So if you like this stuff, if you want to see more of it, then that is the thing to do. So let's hop into some games and see how the deck performs. Okay, so we have Whole New World in our opening hand, and that means our #1 priority is making sure we can cast it ahead of schedule and for good value. So I think that means we just keep the cheap stuff and ship the rest. Looking for Cinderella or something, or Ariel rather, to sing. Oh boy. Well, it's not exactly what we were looking for. Guess we start with Beast and probably on the play Stitch, because they're going to be challenging us more likely, not the other way around, so Stitch will hit harder than Captain Hook when they do. Opponent inks a Maleficent, which means that we're probably up against Ruby Amethyst control. We find Tinkerbell, which is not the worst thing in the world. I am very interested in Rapunzel, although I'm not sure that she'll live, is the problem. Yeah, I think it's ambitious to keep this Tinkerbell in hand. Definitely we will be casting Whole New World before we cast her, so... Just in the market, I think, to get cards in play. This is what I was talking about in the deck tech. Like, Ruby Amethyst dodges a lot of our early game plan. Like, Tinkerbell is very good against other creature decks. Grab Your Sword, very good against other creature decks. Oh, it's not Ruby Amethyst. It's actually Ruby Sapphire. Well, that changes things somewhat. I wonder, then, if I am supposed to just hoard ink to be able to make sure I cast these songs. I think not. Now that I know they're on a plan that actually has characters, if I draw another Tinkerbell, I'll want this one in play, so I want this one on the board. If I draw any inkable, Rapunzel comes down next turn, and she by herself can sing this stuff. So I'm going to ink this Simba. Play Tinkerbell. She also gives me a redraw if I don't find an inkable next turn. And Stitch is going on a mission. We'll pass. Luckily, we were on the play, so Rapunzel will not get killed immediately by Dragon's Fire when we play her. Okay, so we found Tinkerbell. We don't actually need to use this one to find ink for Rapunzel. So let's just play Rapunzel. And I will remove 3 damage from Tinkerbell, because why not? Am I questing with her? I feel like her value as a looter is much more than just the 1 lore. Yeah, I think I'm going to play Whole New World off Rapunzel, and I'll want to be able to dig with Tinkerbell for something powerful. I guess if I draw an uninkable card, I can loot one of them away with Tinkerbell, turn that into ink, and then play Whole New World, which has the advantage of like basically getting 1 more card of use out of this hand before I wheel it away with Whole New World. Anyway, that's another good reason to not expose her to anything like a hasty or a rush creature out of them. But we did draw an inkable card. So no need to loot with Tinkerbell before casting Whole New World. I mean, also, we do just have the option of grabbing our sword here. And then Whole New World the next turn. The problem is, like, the later we cast this, the more likely, like, the more cards it will get them. They haven't shown us any card draw yet, and if they play 2 more, then they draw 6 instead of drawing 4 here. So I think I'm down to just sing Whole New World now. Oh, sorry, this is not the card I thought it was. I thought this was Cinderella that she could sing. This is actually Rapunzel, so we don't have this option yet. That makes this worse. Yeah, sorry, in my head this was Cinderella. I thought we could cast this by singing it. We cannot. So I guess we're just doing this now. Taking our 2 cards of advantage. Yeah, this is what I thought it was. A different 4-mana Amber Princess. Sorry about that. We can sing Be Our Guest if we want. Do I want? I'm down to quest with these 2, but I don't think I want to play Be Our Guest yet. I want to know what I need. And I don't want to expose Tinkerbell to any shenanigans yet. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to guarantee the free Be Our Guest off of Tinkerbell while I can. We did find another wheel. We have Smash. I mean, we have a relatively good hand, honestly, at this point. Opponent has a full grip, too, but we're ahead on board, and I don't think our hand could be that much better. If I had one wish, it would be for a 6-ink Tinkerbell. Another Aurora. So opponent is very, very soft. Like 3-ply soft to grab your sword if we can find it. It's also, like, pretty tempting to just work towards the second Whole New World, which we can do by getting this Cinderella into play. Let's, I think, start by singing Be Our Guest. Well, I did say this is what I wanted, so I'll take Big Tinkerbell, although she's worse now. And she's face up, so now opponent knows it's coming. Let's ink this Stitch, I guess. I think, yeah, I think I'm playing Cinderella, playing Stitch. I can quest with Rapunzel. I guess if, like, that opens them up to being able to attack her 3 times, but each of them will take 1, and then they'll die to Tinkerbell coming into play. So that's fine with me. And I think, therefore, I'm also okay with them fighting Captain Hook, because it just means whatever they do will die to... Whatever they attack it with will die to Tinkerbell. So we'll just do this. That's pretty good. So shifting Aladdin. They'll get to fight something. Presumably Rapunzel? No, they fight Tinkerbell. Okay. I guess to make it more annoying for me to deploy Big Tinkerbell, but... I mean, this isn't the worst for us. Okay, that's pretty bad. They've assembled Shield of Virtue Aladdin, so that's now quite bad. Luckily, we have Smash in hand to deal with that. Hopefully, we can just find, like, grab your sword, and that cleanly deals with their entire board. We don't. However, this is basically forced. We have no choice but to do this. And that leaves us with 4 ink this turn, which is an awkward amount. But I guess I just play a Tinkerbell and be happy with it, and that means Simba can go. Actually, Whole New World is coming, right? So it's probably actually this Moana, because Simba will be easier to play. Could even Whole New World now if we wanted to, I guess, but my hand is, like, I really want to get this Tinkerbell into play first. Still, letting them put more stuff into play means that this gets them more cards than it gets us if we don't do it now. And if we find another Stitch off this, we get to play it right away. Sure. I buy that. Otherwise, it's just not getting us any real advantage. It's just refueling both of us, and it might let them get reassemble their thing. Like, the more cards they get, the easier it is for them to draw out of this. We didn't draw anything playable, but we have caught up in lore and can say go. We did re-find our Tinkerbell, so life is good. We also have Grab Your Sword, which deals with their entire board. And I think we're in a pretty good spot here. Inks another Maleficent. So that's 2 of them gone. At least. 2 that I remember. Okay, so here's Maui. Maui fights Cinderella. And if they have ink, they can... No, they already inked Maleficent this turn. Sorry, I'm sure I'll cut that part out, but the time between when opponent put Maleficent into their inkwell and played Maui was very long, to the point where I forgot that it happened. Okay, if opponent has quested up to 14. So we're going to be grabbing our sword here, basically for sure. We don't have anything that can sing it right now. So that's going to leave us with up to 3 ink if we want. So we can grab your sword, lantern, activate, play Simba. Sure. And am I willing to trade Stitch for Maui? I think so. It's funny, like, Beast would be very good against 1 Shield of Virtue. I don't know that he's good against 2, but I guess I don't really need 2 Simbas. Sure. I guess he comes in as a bodyguard. They might have another Maui or something. And I think we just quest with the team. Chief Tui has arrived. 3/6 quest for 3 with support. There goes what I think is the 4th Shield of Virtue. I don't know. You can't look in the inkwell to see, so... I think I remember one of them getting inked earlier. So we have... Well, we're certainly activating this. And what? We have 8 ink. 4, we'll leave 4 left over. Yeah, I mean, it's just... I don't know. I feel like it's Beast. Like, it's so rare that you actually get to Beast for value. And we have 4 left, and I guess it's... I don't want to play Rapunzel is the thing. Because I'm pretty sure that Chief Tui is going to fight something. And I would like it to be... Well, I guess it has to be Simba now that I've activated him. But I'd like to get some damage off of Rapunzel. So if he activates Tui, then maybe I fight him with Rapunzel. Put 3 damage on her and get another Rapunzel into play. That seems nice. Oh, actually, did I miss lethal? Maybe I did. If I had... No, not quite. I would have been able to get 1 more if I put this Tinkerbell into play and quested with her. Yeah, I'll take Be Our Guest. I guess I should have done that first. Yeah, and I'm down to just keep emptying my hand. More ink in the inkwell is good if we draw another wheel. So as long as they can't get 3 lore out of nowhere, I think we're okay. If they ink something and play Aladdin, 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 that's still not good enough, right? So there goes Simba. I assume their sequencing means that he's going to get untapped by the shield. Dragon's Fire kills the Beast. Okay. I mean, they still need to kill 2 more things, and if one of them isn't Tinkerbell, then they're dead. Let it go. Still doesn't hit Tinkerbell. And they're out of ink. So I'll quest for 2. And win. Nice. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have Whole New World in our opening hand again. And that again means our priority is to be as explosive as we possibly can. And I think that means just keeping a singer to make sure we can play this, like sing this, and ditching all the cards that don't come out on early turns, like the other 5. All right, so we found Stitch. I think we're supposed to pitch this Tinkerbell here, because this smash is probably going to be good. We want to get our stuff on the board quickly, and I don't think there's a world where we play this Tinkerbell before we cast Whole New World anyway. So let's just get on the board. Hopefully don't draw any more uninkable stuff. Looks like we may have another mirror. Opponent inks their beast. So I think that means that Smash is not super great because a lot of the important cards in the deck don't die to it. So I think I'm down to ink this, and we can be our guest. Try to find something nice. What of these do we want? Honestly, probably any inkable will do. Probably the highest upside play is to take Simba. And I'll quest with Stitch and say go. So next turn we get to play Ariel, and hopefully the turn after that, wheel the board. And it's not a mirror. Opponent plays the Emerald Aladdin with Ward, so they certainly got me. Ariel does die to Smash if they have it, which makes me wary of inking the Cinderella. So probably I'm inking this Simba and playing Ariel. Whiff on the Ariel feels bad, but I'll go ahead and quest with Stitch. And hopefully they don't smash Ariel. They do trade. Hans gets turned into ink, and they have their own Tinkerbell. All right. So we can, if we want, sing Whole New World with Ariel here after having played another Ariel. Feels bad. I also don't want to play a whole lot more 3 toughness stuff, because if they level up this Tinkerbell, yeah, if we sing Whole New World now and they get big Tinkerbell next turn, Ariel will just die to that. But I don't want to give them more time to deploy their stuff. So I guess I'm inking Be Our Guest. I'll play Cinderella, and we'll go ahead and sing Whole New World and take our, 3 or 4 card advantage. And if they find their own Tinkerbell, then that stinks. But actually, it's not so bad now that we've drawn Rapunzel, because if they level up Tinkerbell and fight Ariel, they'll put 3 damage counters on Cinderella, and Rapunzel will just take those 3 off immediately. We'll draw 3 cards. So it's not the worst. No, instead it's just, they just fight each other. Okay, so that's probably the weakest possible turn they could have had. We have 5 ink to spend this turn. We have no songs. It does feel like Tinkerbell should get smashed in case they draw another one, because that's the biggest threat to us, but also Hans is just... Yeah, Hans is also a pretty big threat. I think Hans is what gets smashed, and we Lantern? Sure. And I think I'm inking this Beast to do it. Or is it better to play Simba? No, I think it's better to play Lantern, like, if in doubt. And I'm just going to quest. This sort of, like, dares them to put damage on Cinderella that we want there anyway. Also, holding Simba in hand is nice because it's a post-Stitch play. Yeah, again, make sure to do not put Simba in as a bodyguard if you have Stitch in play, because you get to exert him for free and draw a card. They play the Emerald Beast, which I don't think I've honestly ever seen before. Rush, and when you play this character, exert all opposing damage characters. Okay, so I saw this playing Limited the other day, actually. They have left themselves nice and open to a grab your sword. I'm probably supposed to fight the beast and then play Rapunzel here. Yeah. I'd like to kill Tinkerbell because their own Tinkerbell's a pretty big threat. Oh, we should use the lantern first, of course. And now what? We have up to 3 ink if we want it. I think I'm down to ink one of these stitches and play Ariel. I want to keep the 2-drops in my hand because they play nice with Stitch. And I'll take a grab your sword. Yes, please. And now we can say go. A head on board and a head in cards. Good place to be. We just have to make sure that we don't play into our opponent's grab your sword. Sudden chill for ink. Okay. That card's really bad, by the way. Sudden chill. I don't really think that should be in any deck. John Silver is on board, so they're going to give one of our things reckless. It's Rapunzel. So she can't quest, of course, but at least she doesn't have to put herself in harm's way. And now what? We have 7 ink if we want it. I think we're supposed to just be playing Stitch here. Yeah, feels hard not to do that. And I guess we're inking... I guess at this point, Tinkerbell. And I'll put Simba into play. Again, not as a bodyguard. And Stitch will exert him, so he will become a bodyguard once again. We can grab our sword if we want. Right now, that only kills their Tinkerbell. It doesn't seem super appealing to me. And am I willing to just give up Cinderella for Long John Silver? He'll take 3. He'll expose himself to grab your sword if he does that. Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's quest with Cinderella. And if they fight here, then I think that's good for us. But I will not quest with Ariel. Ariel's too important. Ariel sings grab your sword for us. I guess actually, no, I mathed wrong. Cinderella doesn't, fighting Cinderella doesn't expose John Silver to grab your sword. It's still okay. It's just not ideal. They do have to get through Simba first, of course. And that might not be the easiest thing in the world for them to do. So they just explode Tinkerbell on Simba. And they have their own grab your sword. Sure. That is pretty good for us, I think. Okay. Okay, so what? It does feel like Rapunzel taking 3 damage off Cinderella is a very, very good idea. I would love to... I would love to not expose something to Long John Silver. But... okay, let's start with this. Let's play this lantern. And use it twice. And play Rapunzel. Rapunzel will take 3 damage off Cinderella. We'll draw 3. And we have up to 4 ink left if we want. We can also grab your sword twice. Like, we can fight Long John Silver with Rapunzel, grab your sword twice, but that's, like, really expensive for a card that's not really an enormous problem. But we do have 3 of them in our hand. I don't know. How the hell with it? You know what? I think we're ahead. Let's just go. Any damage they put on Silver by hitting our stuff is damage that makes grab your sword better. And let's ink Cinderella. Play Eric. Play Eric. Pass. And we might even just be threatening lethal here, right? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we are threatening lethal. They do have to do something about this board. Silver eats Cinderella. That's fine. Aladdin explodes on Rapunzel. And is it another grab your sword? It is. So really not that bad. So right now we can quest for 4 if we want. That puts us to 16. I guess let's just start with Be Our Guest and see if we can find big Tinkerbell. We cannot. Don't think I want Whole New World. Rapunzel seems good. Yeah, I'll take Rapunzel. Yeah, and that's enough, right? Like we were gonna draw a bunch of cards there, if nothing else, just off of all the damage that the opponent did to us. And yeah, so I think that is where we're gonna leave it. These mirror matches take a long time, but as you can see, silver is just everywhere on the ladder right now, and I think this is the best silver deck you can be playing. Again, if you want to feast on the ladder, I think you play Ruby Amethyst right now, but I wanted to play a deck I haven't played on the channel yet, and I think this is probably the best one. Damage is everywhere. If you have big butts and Rapunzel, it's hard to go too wrong, and you have the most powerful songs in the game, so I think this is the place to be if you don't want to play control on the ladder right now. If you want to do this in person, of course, you can head on over to Coolstuffinc.com. Coolstuff is our sponsor, and if you use the code Academy, you get not only 5% off your order at checkout, but you let them know that we sent you, and that means that they continue to support the content. So if you want more of this, that is the #1 way to make sure that that happens. Also, you can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, and you can leave a comment letting us know whether you like this content or not. Let me know what I missed. These decks have a lot of lines. I'm sure I didn't do everything right. So that is it for me for this one. I will see you guys in the next video later.